she wasn't sad. At least she didn't make it seem like to us that she was sad about it. Hello you guys, my name is Aja and welcome to my channel. So today we're getting ready to discuss a topic that is very near and dear to me, my mama, y'all. This is hard for me. This is the first time that I have said a lot of this stuff that I'm getting ready to say here today. And I just want to process my feelings because every May of every year for the last 20 plus years have been hard for me. I have literally shut down every single time. And I don't know how to feel. And I'm tired of not knowing how to feel. And my YouTube journey has been very therapeutic for me and has allowed me the space to just open up and get all of the things out in the open so that I can process how I feel. And in turn, I just hope that if you have a similar situation, that this will resonate with you and help you heal some wounds that you have. My mom was diagnosed with cervical cancer when I was about 10 or 11 years old. Once she found out that she was sick, she pretty much went downhill from there. As a kid, I watched her just turn from a very vibrant woman that was full of life and full of, thoughts of the future into someone that had pretty much, just accepted what was happening. And I'm going to just kind of talk through a few different situations that happened to me during this time and kind of shaped how I'm feeling right now, because every single May for the last 20 plus years has been very, very difficult for me. I find myself just shutting down. I find myself just, cutting off everybody and just isolating to myself. And I just feel like a lot of people don't really understand what it's like to not have a mom, because maybe they have, a mother figure or, somebody in their life that that took them under their wing and that kind of thing. So that feeling was maybe replaced, but for me, it was never replaced. So with that being said, I'll get into the story. So, I'm from Oakland, California. Proud to be from the Bay, okay? And my mom told us that, hey, we're getting ready to move to Oregon to live with our grandmother, her mother. And, I was sad because I had never left Oakland before. And this was getting ready to be a new experience for me. So, all of the feelings came, but I didn't have a choice. So I packed my stuff and I got in the car and we, took that, I don't know, I think it was maybe, 12-hour drive or so up to Oregon from Oakland. And, when we got there, it was a very, very different lifestyle that I had to adapt to and everything, and it was a lot. But the biggest thing that I had to adapt to is, seeing my mom being sick. It just seemed as if, like, soon as we got there, she just really started to decline. as we were on our way there, you know, we had to pull over numerous times because she was so sick from the radiation and chemotherapy that she was just throwing up everywhere. So we had to continuously stop. So it took us a lot longer to get there than it would have. But anyway, so once we got there, it was my older sister. I believe she was 18 at the time, so you know, she didn't stay with us. It was just me and my brother. And my mom had took us in a room, and she told us, you know, of some changes that was getting ready to happen, and some things, you know, that we needed to be prepared for. And she just prayed with us. And, you know, we weren't really a praying religious type of family, but when I realized, you know, that she had, you know, turned her life over to God and had started praying more, I felt that, you know, she was in her own way transitioning. And I guess I didn't realize that until I was much older. But she remained strong as long as she could. I just remember her talking to us a lot more. We did things like we watched movies together, and you know, she combed my hair and things of that nature until she could no more. And then a lot happened between that time, but I remember the school that I went to, I was like the only African American in my class. So I was a little isolated anyways, you know. But the school and my teachers and things, they were tracking that my mom was, you know, terminally ill and everything. So I would, I don't know how often, but a lady would come and get me, a counselor, and then we would go in the room and we would just talk about things, and I would just, you know, tell her some things that I was going through and stuff. And she would just, you know, try to keep me, you know, from being sad about what was happening. So fast forward a little bit, when she started to lose all her hair. So she had some really long, beautiful, pretty hair, and she started to lose all of it. It was really, really thin, and she just couldn't live with it no more. So she asked my granny if she could cut it off for her. So I just remember them in the kitchen, and she was cutting off her hair with scissors, and then she got clippers and clipped it all off. And then it was like my mom was just smiling and she wasn't sad about it. She wasn't sad. At least she didn't make it seem like to us that she was sad about it. But I only had known her with long hair, and she always had different styles and all of that. So that's what I knew. But anyways, I didn't mean for all of this to happen. Oh gosh. So after that, she just declined. And I have so many stories, but I remember the night before she passed away, and I was in the room right next to her, and she was up just screaming in excruciating pain all night. I was up, and I was just sitting there because I didn't know what to do. And I went in there to try to help her, and she said, "There's nothing that you can do to help me. Go get your granny." So I went and got her. My granny got up, and she went in there with her. They shut the door, and went back to the room, and I eventually went back to sleep through all her crying and stuff. And then the next morning, my granny woke me up, and she told me that we were getting ready to go to the hospital, and that my brother was going to go to school, but I was going to go with her to help her. So I went with her. I don't really remember the drive there, but I remember being there at the hospital. And I remember all of my aunties, my granny's sisters, they were in there, and a couple other family members. And they were all just, praying and everything. And she was pretty much like in and out of consciousness at that point. I'm thinking that the doctors probably had her medicated because I don't know, she was in a lot of pain. And I was just sitting outside in the window, and I was just looking out the window, and I was like, what does all this mean? Like, is this, I'm never going to see her again? And yeah, it was a lot. So I don't know how long later, but my granny came and got me, and I went in there, and she was in and out, but she was saying the Lord's Prayer. And then my granny said, Tanya, your baby's in here. And then she looked up at me. She said, Shanae. She said, this is it. And I need you to take care of your brother. And I said, okay. And I grabbed her hand. She closed her eyes. And then from that point, she was like, she started to like babble. We couldn't understand her no more. She was saying something, but I don't know what she was saying. And I just broke out in tears because that was the first time that I realized what was actually happening. I realized what was actually happening. So I asked my granny if I could just walk out and get some water, because it was a water fountain right outside. And then once I walked out, I was there for, I don't know, a couple seconds, and then I just heard everybody holler. And I knew she was gone. And my heart sank. I didn't know what to feel, so I went and sat down. A little while later, my granny came out. She told me that my papa and my sister was on the way, and that we were gonna be okay. And then we hugged and stuff, and I kind of don't remember much else. After that day, I don't remember, but I know I went to school the next day. And, the school had been notified about what happened. So my teacher just gave me like a workbook, and put me in the room. And told me, that I could work on a workbook, or I didn't have to work on it. But that she would be checking on me every now and then. And I sat in that room by myself all day. She came in and she brought me lunch. And, that's kind of all that I remember. And then from there, and then when I got home, I remember my dad called, and my dad said, do you want to come here and live with me? And I was like, yes, I do. Because every time I walk past her room to go to mine, and she wasn't in there no more. was too much for me. So my mom, she had signed over custody of me and my brother to my grandmother. So my dad, he had parental rights of me, but my mom had, been my guardian my whole life. So I didn't know how all of that worked, but I was supposed to just visit him for the summer, and that was the plan. So when I left, I packed my stuff, and I felt like I wasn't ever coming back. I got on the plane, and I went to Lancaster, California, and that's where I spent the rest of my teenage years. So just how I got over that at that time was I just pretended it never happened. Pretended as if, like, I don't know, she was still here in a way, but she was just somewhere. And that wasn't hard for me because prior to her being sick, I lived with my great grandmother, and she was in and out because she used to sing, and she had a career that she was trying to build and stuff. So we were with my grandmother anyways. So her being there every day wasn't a new thing for me. So I just pretended as if she was somewhere, performing somewhere, just living her life, and that she was going to eventually come back, and that was what it was. So time does heal things, but it never make you forget, because anytime anything important in my life would happen, when anything good would happen to me, when I graduated from high school, when I had my first son, when I got married, just all of those things, those are the times that I really, really missed her, and I really, really wish that I had her. Yeah, I had other women in my life, my aunties, that was really, really important to me. They have always, been there for me, and seeing me through life, and loving on me and my kids and things like that. But I always just wondered what my life would be like if she was still here. And I don't know, just I've never been able to actually deal with my feelings about it. And I just wonder, what would she say if she saw me today? Like, would she be proud of me? Would she be a good grandmother to my kids? Like, just what would she have become before she got sick? She, was really focused and, trying to become successful. Would that have happened for her? I have so many questions, and I remember questioning God about this, because I'm just kind of like, why? She was, at the end of the day, she was a good person, so she didn't have to pass so young. I don't know. So because of this situation, I make sure that I get all my blood work, and I get all my tests and stuff done, every single year. And I just make sure that, I'm doing all the things so that I can remain healthy, so that, I can live a long life unless something accidental happened to me or something, And I don't know if it had anything to do with that, because I do believe that when it's your time, it will be your time, regardless of whatever you do to try to prevent it. But she passed away on on May the 3rd. 2002. So I was 12 years old and I knew nothing about life. And all I have now is just memories of her and just thoughts of memories I wish I had with her. You know, and when I see other people that have mothers and they be in conflict and disrespectful and all of that, I just get so upset because I'm just kind of like, you're lucky you even have a mom, because nobody cares about you. Nobody. You cannot tell me that anybody cares about you more than your mother, you know. So it's been a lot for me, you know. I live my life the best that I can, but I do wish that she was here for me to share my life with. You know, and I think that this is exactly what I needed to just be able to reflect on the situation, because I can go on and on and on. I can keep you guys here. I can go on and on and on about, you know, all the things, right? But the most important thing is that I feel at peace right now. I feel at peace that I've gotten it out. A lot of people tell me that I look just like her and that I sound like her and I act just like her, and I don't know. I don't see it. I kind of don't know who I look like. Yeah, I kind of got my own little unique look, but I know that I'm her child. So my mom, she was a very, very beautiful woman, and she had vocals out of this world. Like, she had put to shame any of these singers nowadays. And I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention, but my intro, that is her singing. That's her beat, and I'm actually gonna play it a little bit throughout this video just to remember her. She had a very, very beautiful spirit, a very beautiful person, and I miss her. I miss the relationship that we could have had, especially as adults, you know, just hanging out with your mom and loving on her and her, you know, being there for you, like when you have kids, and loving on the grandkids, and being like, Mom, I'm gonna drop these kids off. Like, that'll never be me. Yeah. Well, I want to see, you know, she passed away on the 3rd. Mother's Day is around the corner, and her birthday is at the end of the month. So I feel like I just be hit every month, every May. And I know that my sister and my brother feel the same way. But, you know, I'm so happy that, you know, we have maintained our relationship and remain close for her. Because that's what she wanted. That was the last thing she said to me. I remember one day we was watching, I don't know if y'all remember that little movie called The Little Vampire. Cute little movie. And she looked up at me and she was like, "You are beautiful, Nene." And she had never said that to me before. And, you know, I kind of battled with my looks for a long time, because a lot of people would say that I was adopted because she was so like light skinned and I was dark skinned. So when she would come to the school to like pick me up or something, people would tease me and say that I was adopted or foster kid or whatever. And, you know, I was like, dang, you know. So she had never said that to me. And, you know, the way she looked at me, I would never forget it. And I know I look at my kids like that. Like, dang, I just love you, you know. That's how she looked at me. But I know that she was preparing. She was ready. She was tired of being in pain. And I would be selfish to sit here and say that I wish she was still alive dealing with it. You know, because that was rough to see. But she held on. She was so strong. She held on for as long as she could. Until that cancer literally just took over her complete body and she couldn't do nothing else. But she fought to the very end. I don't know. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So I'm just gonna leave you with, if your mother is still here today, love on her. Love on her. Okay. Giving her flowers while she's here. And for me, all I can do is just be the best mother that I can be to my kids. You know, so they won't ever have to question or wonder how much I love them or if I even love them. They'll never have to be in those type of situations. So, thank you for listening to my story. I was not planning on this. And I'd like to hear from you guys. You know, if you've lost your mother, or, you know, if you can understand what I went through, what I'm currently going through. Yeah, so until next time. Alright.